Dangerfield Newby is probably the character that Django was taken from, because when Dangerfield Newby was killed at Harper's Ferry, they found these letters on him from his wife that were pleas for him to free her and their child from the enslavement period, because the slave owner whose plantation she was on was in financial trouble, and they would probably sell her pretty soon.
Right.
And
Can
so,
I read?
yes.
That letter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is Harriet Newby, Dangerfield Newby's wife, and she writes him, "Dear husband, I want you to buy me as soon as possible, for if you do not get me, somebody else will. The servants are very disagreeable. They do all they can to set my mistress against me. Dear husband, the last 2 years have been like a troubled dream to me. It is said, Master is unwant of money. If so, I know not what time he may sell me, and then all my bright hopes of the future are blasted. For there has been one bright hope to cheer me in all my troubles, and that is to be with you. For if I thought I should never see you, this earth would have no charms for me. Do all you can for me, which I have no doubt you will. I want to see you much." And that was written, as far as I'm concerned, by what sounds like a learned woman.
Well, it's written that way. The original, the original form has it more in the language of the enslaved person.
Gotcha.
And there are 3 letters that they have, which people in the audience can access by way of Google, by going into Google and putting in 2009 Virginia Trailblazers and dash Granville Newby, and there are 3 short letters that are going to pop up from his wife, which brings us to what is not said about the movie. The movie is a love picture, surrounded by a whole lot of violence that is no different, in my opinion, than some of these films where we see the prince is going after this damsel, and the European damsel, and she's locked away in some castle way up on this forbidden slope, and he's got to kill dragons, he's got to kill mountain people, and he's got to kill the evil, jealous individual who doesn't want him to gain access to this queen. So that is the type of story. Now we can stand to see dragons being killed, these evil mountain people being killed, people who change themselves into snakes and birds being killed. But when this film comes out, black people, Negro people get the shivers, they get the quivers, and then they get all worked up. The most vocal people that come on the show, on the communicators, are people who never seen the film, saying that my relative of mine saw the movie in North Carolina, and the only people who's in there were white people, and I think the black people are boycotting the movie. I interviewed Dr. Ashanti. Dr. Ashanti is North Carolina. I said, well, tell me about the complexion of the people. He said, man, it was half and half, man. So forth and so on. So that, you know, you talk to people, and I've never, in my recollection, have seen a film that I consider black. I'm not an expert. They call me Black Leroy because anything that's black that has a positive thing to it, I latch on to it, I promote. I've never seen a film that I consider black generate so much negative feedback from people, black, Negro people, colored people, people of color who didn't even see the movie.
Brother,
and ain't see the movie yet.
Black Leroy.
Yes.
I got to interject. Now, I've been sitting over here quietly, and I know you guys been going in on people that didn't see the movie.
No, mentioning.
Well, I'm one of those people that didn't see the movie.
Okay.
And I'm also one of those people that I was scared. I'm be honest, in front of everybody and say I was actually frightened to see the movie because I felt like it was just going to be another depiction of black people in a negative sense. And I said, you know what, man, I don't got time to see one more movie where we are, looking crazy. And I said, this is my whole thing that I made up. Jamie Foxx probably sold out. He done did something crazy. I don't got time to go see this. And then I started hearing people, and I listened to your interviews with Dick Gregory, and I said, oh, that's a different way of seeing it. Sometimes what happens with me is that when I was growing up in elementary school, I went to a Catholic elementary school with all, non-black teachers. Mm-hmm. And every Black History Month, we started at slavery. And I wasn't well versed on our history before slavery.
Every time you hear about young people being murdered, either by police or by racist vigilantes, you have people who say, okay, maybe what happened there is wrong. But these youth are no good. They can't be about nothing. Well, I'm here to say, you're wrong. Yes, they can.
Con los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.
I think this is terrible. I think this is disgusting. I don't understand why you guys are imitating us. This is worse than blackfacing. This is ridiculous. Why are you guys disrespecting Harlem? Why? And wasn't this made in like Ethiopia?
When I was growing up in elementary school, I went to a Catholic elementary school with all, non-black teachers. Mm-hmm. And every Black History Month, we started at slavery. And I wasn't well versed on our history before slavery. I knew some about it, what I learned at home, but I really didn't have a big grasp on it. So every time I see movies or things that kind of begin at slavery, I get mad because I'm like, nobody's doing a movie on the pharaohs, or nobody's doing the movies on the kings, or or like when they have Frank White. And I was so pissed because I was like, why is everybody making a big deal over this movie with this dude who sold drugs, but we don't even talk about a Harriet Tubman? So to be on the other side of that conversation, I am one of those people that saw what it was about, and I didn't, I must say, I didn't go investigate it. I didn't go see it for myself because I was so turned off by so many negative images of us in the media that I said, you know what, my psyche does not need another one of those. Mm-hmm. If you're not coming at me with anything that's uplifting, I don't need to see it. But now I want to see it because, as you were saying, at that time, we, I think Dick Gregory said he used to go and see cowboy movies, and he would think he was, the Lone Ranger or something, and he would come through the alleyways at home, but he didn't have anything that showed himself. He didn't see himself on the screen. So seeing something like that was actually very uplifting for him. And also Jamie Foxx taught the horse how to do the moonwalk. And people can go on YouTube and catch your interview, but it was a deep interview, and it actually changed the way I saw or what my mind's eye saw for that film, to the point where I actually want to go see it.
And your reaction is totally the same kind of reaction that myself and my partner, Brother Wayne, who made his transition in 2002, we had those kind of, he's from the movie entertainment business. Mm-hmm. And we had projections. When stuff came out, we would form our own opinion even without seeing stuff.
Right.
And Melvin Van Peebles had a play called Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death.
Okay.
And there's a scene in there with a Muslim selling the Muhammad Speaks. So Wayne and I, we up there, man, what he got? What he doing, man? He gonna have some negative thing, man. So
Right.
Wayne, so we got free tickets to go. We sitting up there in the mezzanine watching this thing. Play was dynamite.
Wow.
The brothers selling Muhammad Speaks in a street scene.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
You know, and he's clean, white shirt, blah, blah, blah. He was an actor. He wasn't, we was looking to see whether he was a brother from the ranks. But we were wrong.
Yeah.
We were wrong. When you're not wrong in forming opinions and staying away from stuff, because quite often that's the safe way to go. That's why I said you judge the caliber of the people who are saying go and don't go, and understanding what their caliber is, and I'm talking about where they're coming from and whatnot, and you proceed on. The film has opened the door for those of us who are conscious,
right,
and concerned about the growth and development of the minds of black people.
Cyberbullying is a serious topic. While bullying can be over once school ends, cyberbullying can go on before, during, and after school. If you feel like you or a friend is being bullied on or offline, speak to someone you trust. The more you keep it a secret, the worse you can get. Remember, many of us are both victims and perpetuators of cyberbullying. It's easy to forget the real impact words have on other people. So next time you find yourself in the position of bully or victim, make the right cyber decision.
It has opened the door for us to teach black history right in our homes, in our church, in our mosques. It has opened the door. That door has been quietly shut by Negroes, people of color, coons, and crossover artists.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, because we don't talk about it anymore.
Jet Magazine used to have one page in there, Yesterday in Black History.
Right.
They don't have anything in Black History.
Right.
However, the Amsterdam News has a full page of Black history in each issue.
Right.
Each issue. And that's an important edition of that paper for our for the average individual to get and read. And then to be able to teach your children off of the individuals that they showcase. This film allows the teaching of black history in our homes. There are families that have men and women who've been lynched in the family, but the family don't know because grandma don't talk about it.
Right.
And nobody don't ask grandma or great aunt. But if you ask grandma or great aunt, they tell you, well, I never thought any of y'all would want to know, but Uncle Frank was down and so forth and so on. He just came back from World War II, and such and such a thing happened. You sit down and you listen. And that's how we had to leave the South.
Right.
They'll tell you those stories. They had to get up and leave the plantation, not plantation, but their property and everything, and get out at night. I have somebody in my own family who beat up, the Caucasian insulted him, and he hit him with a railroad tire. Brother hit the man with the railroad tire, and my grandfather was a Mason, and they had to get my cousin out of South Carolina by way of the funeral car. You know,
the hearse.
The hearse over the back roads. It's not a period of shame. I went to Catholic school. The first picture you saw of slavery was us picking cotton. And I used to hold my head down. I didn't want to, hurry up and get past that. When I get out of school, then I learned from Du Bois, Black Reconstruction in America, that black free labor financed America's industrial growth and financed Europe's, London's industrial growth. And the brother Rodney, what's his name, Walter Rodney, how Europe underdeveloped Africa, Europe, these are...
Well, that's deep, because when I read, I forgot which book I was reading. I think it was Assata Shakur's book, her autobiography. And, she talked about the Civil War. She was like, that was just all economics. And you hear people say it, but when you're reading it and it's really broken down in blatant terms, she was like, Lincoln didn't care about any black people. It wasn't about freeing the slaves. It was a whole, fight between big business and the...
Okay. That's touched on in the movie Lincoln.
Okay.
Got to see Lincoln.
Okay.
The 13th Amendment, not the debate over the contents of the 13th Amendment, but the debate over whether the amendment should be put into law in the House of Representatives. It already passed the Senate. And that film is to be studied. In the film, the Southerners want to offer peace, peace between the South and the North, based on the South being a separate country.
Right.
Now, they could only do that based on the amount of monies that they had gathered from the cotton. Okay, this is touched on in Black Reconstruction in America. My point is that it was economic. It was economic. We were the prized possession of the South, free labor.
Right.
300 years, somewhat of free labor. You know what it would be not to get paid, and black people don't know what it's going to be not to get Social Security, which is what they're hooking up now.
And then this is not really documented anywhere, but what started to happen was I started to think about, all these families, these non-black families and Caucasian families that they're not really wealthy, but they have amassed a certain amount of family wealth. And so I started to say, a lot of these families have their wealth because their families go back into that time period. So, it changes the whole perspective on how you see other races, on how you see other people. And it kind of, like you said, you used to hold your head down. It kind of changes your whole view on the economic game, because then you realize how important that is. It's not just about, like you said, being able to buy things like when you're watching these reality shows, or just being able to get a new car and feeling good, or just in my generation, I'm able to buy a house. But what does it mean if if 4 generations back actually had incomes and were producing and making money 5 or 6 generations back, that would change the way I live right now.
Every time you hear about young people being murdered, either by police or by racist vigilantes, you have people who say, okay, maybe what happened there is wrong. But you know, these youth are no good. They can't be about nothing. Well, I'm here to say, you're wrong. Yes, they can.
It is critical for us, and this is where this interview with Dr. Edwin Nichols is important. He talks about, even if you're employed, you got to have a hustle. You got to have a second and third stream of income that you develop that meets your particular criteria of like. Les Brown often says, doing what you love and loving what you do. And that we make a mistake when we work at a job and say, I'm tired of it, when that job is actually what pays our way, pays the rent, pays the bills. What we have to understand, a job does not define you. It's what you establish that defines you. It's called self-actualization, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It defines you. You want to get into something that defines you, that you feel good. You want to start a business from your home, catering, designing clothes, designing jewelry, designing those things that are being consumed, and putting yourself in a position to sell those things. And to use our creativity. Years ago in the 125 Mart, there was a brother that had these great T-shirts, and his name is escaping me right now. It had R in his name. Could have been Ron, could have been Rob. And he had these great T-shirts, great designs. And I spoke to him. He had worked at Nautica. That's where he had worked. And he got tired, and he opened up in the 125 Mart these T-shirts. That's all he was selling, T-shirts. My point is that he loved to do that, but where he had been working was not fulfilling to him. So he took his skill and opened up his own business in the 125 Mart. He made his transition early. Brother passed. But the fact of the matter is, that kind of creativity is driving the engine of America. The Chrysler car, that with the big grill, they call it the imitation Mercedes Benz or whatever you call it. That was designed by an African brother.
Wow.
And how do I know? I'm looking through Fortune magazine, the top 40 people in industry, and I'm going through, all I'm doing is looking for black people. So I see this black man. I said, well, what'd he do? He designed that, and that car became a major income generator for Chrysler. You like the way it looked. It looks slick. It was designed by a black guy, and African descent. Someone from Africa. Either he was born here or came over here, but he's in Detroit now. Django, the movie, was made by somebody else, but in the Quran it says people plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best planner. God puts His hand over the hands of people who are planning bad, who are planning good. So it turns out beneficial. You know, when you see it, when a black man sees that movie and sees a black man being a black man, thinking. And there's another part of Django that people don't talk about, is that Django was the learner. He learned quick. He learned quick from this, this itinerant bounty hunter. And the bounty hunter showed him how to shoot. Django becomes a better shoot than he. He taught strategy to Django. Django internalized it and took that to another level. You see that in the film.
Right.
Okay? So that reflects who we are.
What we do.
Here black people, 1865, forbidden up to that point, the end of the Civil War, we were forbidden to know how to read and write. Is that correct? We were forbidden how to read and write. We couldn't go to those schools. If you there's a movie called Night John, a very important movie. It's about a little girl who her quest to learn to read and write on a slave plantation, and one man is afraid to teach her. He knows how to do it, but you don't know that until the end. But she learns how to read and write surreptitiously, and the point is that this guy had his thumbs chopped off or something chopped off because he had learned how to read, and he was teaching other slaves. So from that point on, he ain't teaching nobody. And don't be around him trying to learn, because you're going to get the rest of us in trouble.
Right.
But 1865 is the cutoff point. After 1865 to this point in time, look at who we are as a people. We're in science. We're in the teaching profession. We're in industry. You can point to us as inventors, etc. All of these accomplishments coming after 1865. So you want to read black history. You want to use a movie like this to teach black history and show the resilience and the come up from the worst of black people's ability. Django